Hi everybody, thanks for coming into my kitchen. Guess what? It's just you and me tonight again, so we get to cook together and talk and visit, and I love these nights where we get to do that. It's so quiet. All right, so tonight I'm making a Hungarian goulash, which I thought that I was dealing with frozen beef that was not cooked, and I'll tell you, once I defrosted it, I could see that I actually cooked this before. So I'm really kind of, I'm a little frustrated because I was going to slow cooker that, but it's already cooked. So I'm thinking what I'm just gonna do is do all of this in the Instant Pot and see if I can, you know what I mean, meld the flavors together and pull this goulash through. Anyway, this last week, the kids and I, we were studying the country of Hungary because, sorry about this, because, I'm gonna open up those, the garlic cloves, you know how I like to bust through them. All right, see, they peel so easy when you do that. So we were studying Hungary and we found out that the national food of Hungary is Hungarian goulash. And so we wanted to make that. We went to a restaurant this week to, I'm gonna mince up these garlic. We went to a restaurant to see if they make Hungarian goulash there, and they do normally, but the day we went there, they didn't. So we didn't get to have that, but I tried their beef stroganoff. And so we said, well, I'll make it at home and then we'll try it there. So the kids actually have never tried it. Hubby and I have always made our own version of Hungarian goulash. I'm gonna open up these onions and I'm gonna dice them. I've got two. The recipe that I'm using calls for 3. I think it's just a little too many onions for my family, as much as I love onions. Oh, okay. I have to show you something. Before I cut these onions, last time I was really bothered by cutting the onions, and my wonderful friend Sparkly Susan told me that if I put a toothpick between my teeth and I cut them, then I shouldn't have any problems with my eyes. And I tried it, and I hope you can understand me talking. I'll be doggone, it works. It works. I'm not quite sure why it works, but I'm wondering if it's because when you have the toothpick in your mouth and you're breathing, you're creating a bit of steam and a kind of a vapor curtain that maybe keeps the fumes from hitting your eyes. And so I'm wondering if that's what's happening, because they should have been watering really bad the other day. I did this and nothing, absolutely nothing. So I have to really say thank you, Susan, for this wonderful tip. It's just like magic and I love it. So I'm gonna cut these up. I think it works better, not if you're talking, but if you're just breathing. So let me turn this off for a minute and just breathe. Oh my goodness. Okay, what happened was my mascara leaked into my eyes and then that started burning. So I'm okay now. So I have 2 green bell peppers and I'm just gonna dice them up to the desired size. Some people like them bigger, I like them smaller. I don't think that my kids are huge fans of bell pepper, but green bell pepper add a really nice flavor to beef, or sausages actually, or almost anything really. Okay, so what were we talking about? Do you remember, did you ever see that movie, Julia and Julia? It's about Julia Child's life. I really, really like that. Our eldest son, he bought me the movie, and so I have it, and I watch it every now and again. And it's basically about a food blogger who chose to make all of Julia's, what was that called? I have it, The Art of French Cooking. That book that she co-authored, the blogger vowed to make every single recipe within a year's time. And that's what the movie's about, is about her life, kind of paralleling the life that they're showing you that Julia Child had in France with her husband. And it's a really cute movie. But there's this moment while she's at a French cooking school, and she is trying to prove to, they only had a lot of males there at the French cooking school, and she had to kind of prove herself. I have 3 peeled carrots, and I'm gonna chop these. And she had this, she wasn't chopping the onions very well. So there's this scene where she goes home and the table is just completely covered in onions, and she's sitting there crying, and her husband walks in and he sees her and he just walks right out again. But anyway, that just made me think about that little thing right there. This was kind of weird. Normally I don't pay attention, you know what I mean? The algorithm on YouTube kind of messes with you sometimes, and sometimes, it looks like you lost people but you didn't. It looks like you gained people but you didn't, or maybe you did, and there's like a big shift. Sometimes you just lose people for some reason. They're not getting the notification, or they unsubscribe you to people for no reason at all. But anyway, after I put up the last video, which was the slow cooker recipe, asparagus cheese chicken, I noticed it looked to me like I lost like a little clump of people. And I had to rack my brain. I was thinking, did I say something offensive, or did I do something that was like a big no-no? Did I say something? And I don't know, but I just thought, what the heck happened? Who did I lose? What did I say? And after thinking about it, I'm thinking, yeah, YouTube probably did something wacky. But then again, if not, you really can't worry about, people who just drop you for one little thing. You can't worry about people not liking you anymore because you don't eat something that they eat, or you eat something they don't eat, or something like that. I mean, because if people are going to drop you for something they're not even going to tell you about, then it's not really worth worrying about it. It just was perplexing. I don't know if I did something, you guys, but anyway, that's life. Okay, so I have a bunch of spices here. I have a 1/4 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. I have, I will read these off to you so you know what I have. Hang on a second. All right, in this bowl, I have a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I have 3 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of caraway seeds. I'm going to have 1 garlic clove minced, which I'm going to add now. I don't know if that's minced small enough. A dash of sugar, so like a teaspoon of sugar. And what I should have in here is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So I'm going to run and get that right now. All right, so I've got a couple tablespoons of olive oil in this Instapot. And I've got it on saute. So as soon as it heats up a little bit, I'm going to add the onions and the carrots and the bell peppers and saute them until they are soft. All right, so while the veggies are browning, I'm just going to put a little bit, like a tablespoon of olive oil in this pan, and then on the stove. And then once this heats up, I'm going to, even though my meat is already cooked, I'm going to brown it in here just to hopefully make it a little more flavorful. What I want to do is get some of the bits of the meat to stick to the pan so that I could use that to kind of like make the sauce. So I'm hoping that that's still going to work even though my meat is cooked. I'm pretty sure it's cooked. It looks cooked to me. I'm pretty sure it looks done. Yeah, it is. It's done. I think this meat is kind of fatty. So normally I choose to use, I think this is from a roast that I made a while back, and I had leftovers, and I didn't want us to just eat so much beef at one time, so I put it away. Honestly, I'm wondering if I should just use half of this. But it's already in there, so here we go. All right, so let me brown this. And let me stir that. And I'll use a spoon. Now normally I think for the goulash I would rather have beef cubes, and this looks more like it's shredded, but I'm gonna make do. And you know, I'm gonna use it on noodles. I've got some egg noodles. The other day when we were at the restaurant, they said, well, we don't have any egg noodles for the stroganoff, so sometimes we use potatoes, mashed potatoes, and I had never heard of that. Have you guys ever heard of mashed potatoes, like under goulash and under beef stroganoff instead of noodles? Is that a thing? Because that was like a new one to me. And I said, she asked me which I preferred, and I said the noodles, so it took a long time for them to make them. Okay, so we're waiting on these things to heat up so we can chat for a minute. I had taken my kids to chess today, and they do chess sometimes, and they're getting ready for a tournament, so I hope they are going to do well in that. But anyway, one of the moms came out of the room and she was carrying this shoebox. And it was just a normal shoebox, but it was, you know, the red and green. And I said, oh, is that the Operation Christmas Child, you know, shoeboxes? And she said, yeah, that her daughter's group, she was in, you know, like a Girl Scout thing. It's like called American Heritage Girls, I guess. I don't have a daughter, so I don't know about those things. But my boys are in other things. The kids and I usually will go down to Hobby Lobby because as you go in, they'll have a display. So if you do want to participate in that, you can buy a shoebox there, and it has all the information to, you know what I mean, how to fill it to send to a child who, you know what I mean, is in need at Christmas time, and they'll receive this wonderful box of all of these goods, these care goods, and love gifts, and so we normally would do that. And she said, yeah, you know, we're gonna do that, and it made me think about my mom, because my mom she was in her 70s. I mean, I think she was close to 70, like when she went back to school to finish a college degree, and she was like the oldest person there, but she did it, right? And she was volunteering forever. I mean, because honestly, it was really hard. She went to school for like counseling or something like that, and she was really great at it. Sorry about the noise. But being her age, it's really hard to get hired for an actual paying job, right, at that time. And so she would actually volunteer her time to work with women, and she would work at the women's shelter, you know, a couple different places. But right before the holidays, she would gather up things from all over the town. I mean, dentist offices, you name it, and she would put together like hundreds of boxes, which she would actually give locally to the people who were in need in her own community. And my dad would get involved, and you know, everybody who was there, family who could get involved. I just thought that was really beautiful. Even for those of us who lived out of state, I have to turn off the veggies. Okay, so we're gonna have to get back to work here. She would call us and she would give us a job, you know, so she would tell me, you know, I need candy. I need hard candies to put into the shoe boxes, or I need little dolls, you know, I need this age group. I need these toys, you know, and so we would get assignments and we would collect these things and send them to her or have them sent to her. I remember one time I had found a really great deal on, I think it was eBay, I'm not sure, but it was like new toothbrushes and stuff that were to go inside the boxes. And they would go, my mom and dad, you know, and whichever other family members that were there to help, there was a place for them to go, and they would hand them all out like Christmas Day or something like that. And that's how they would spend their day, is by doing that. And I was really surprised about that, but it made a big impact in the community. My mom was really active, you know, up until she was going to work and help others until her body wouldn't do it anymore. And that's how she spent her time. It was just her. And the year that she came down with, she beat breast cancer 3 times. And the one time that she was really having to deal with it and focus on it, we all told her, Mom, it's okay for you not to do it this year and just focus on you. It's okay to do that. She had a really hard time stepping back from it, but that was the last time when she stepped back. Things they just kind of went another way. She had a lot of other medical issues coming up, and she never got back to that. But I think she did that for a few years, So it just kind of made me think about that and the legacy that she left in our hearts about reaching out to other people. I thought that was kind of neat. But anyway, looking at somebody else's shoebox under their arms, made me think about my mom. All right, so I didn't really get a lot of little brown bits left in here, so I left a little bit of the meat in here to kind of toast up a little bit. This is all of the other meat, and honestly, it smells really good. So what are we gonna do? All right, I'm gonna sprinkle a half a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of pepper over this meat, and then I'm gonna toss that about. So to this little bit of meat in here, I'm gonna add all of my spices and the tomato paste as well. So that's going to go in here, as well as 1.5 cups of beef broth. And I'm just going to stir this, and hopefully this is going to thicken up a bit. So let's do that. All right, now I'm supposed to pour this over the meat. It's going to be kind of hard to do it at this angle. And then I'm going to put this in the Instapot, I think, with the vegetables. It's not going to take too long to cook because, of course, the meat's already cooked. I just want to put it in there to meld everything together. I am boiling the water for the noodles, and then we'll go on. All right, so everything's in the Instapot. I'm just going to stir it up really well. I feel like it should be more saucy, though. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe I should add some more, I don't know, beef broth, maybe. No, it's not very saucy. And I want it to go over the noodles saucy. It doesn't look saucy at all. All right, what do you think about this? Does that look saucy? It's not very thick like gravy, so I'm thinking I'm going to cook it for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes in here, and then I'll let the steam out manually after a couple minutes, and then see if it thickens up on its own. All right, I decided to make it 10 minutes. All right, so while I'm waiting for that, and I've got my egg noodles here ready to go in the pot. I got sauce all over me. Somehow I splattered it all over my shirt, so I hope that didn't ruin it. When my hubby and I were first married, we made our own version of goulash. Of course, this one's going to be different from anything I've ever had. And I don't think my hubby's going to be very happy because I'm supposed to put like a cup of reduced fat sour cream. I'm supposed to stir it into the meat mixture after it's all done and make it nice and creamy. But I don't have any. I thought I did. And normally, if it's just me, I will usually use like a non-fat Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. And for me, that brings up the protein level without the fat, right? And but honey hates it when I do that. He can't stand it when I do that. He's like, I want real sour cream. I thought I had it, but I don't. So, one thing about it is I don't like, sometimes it does okay, and sometimes the yogurt curdles and it doesn't look that appetizing. And I really hesitate to put it in there and wonder if it's gonna curdle or not, because I don't want it to ruin the look. But I kind of am. I'm tempted to, of course he's gonna see this way after the fact, but I'm tempted to just put it in there and not tell him and see what he says. He's gonna think, what's with your cooking? What is this? But hopefully he'll like it. We'll see. I don't know. I'm wondering whether I should just leave it that way and not add any cream whatsoever. Anyway, when we were first married, we used to make kind of our own version of goulash, and it was just basically, like spaghetti sauce and noodles, and we'd add a little bit of ground beef to it, I think, cooked ground beef. And then we'd put it in like these large ramekins for the oven, and we'd douse it in cheese on top. And so then we'd cook it under the broiler, and it'd come out really nice, almost like a lasagna or something. And we called that goulash, which in retrospect, I don't believe it was goulash at all, really, but it was our version of it, and it was pretty good, and it was real simple. When I was growing up, we had limited funds at one point. I've talked about that before. And when we had to stretch food, well, what I ended up doing was making my own version of that. And so I'd take this big pot, of course I had to cook for like a lot of people, and I would make like a roux, right? Which it's like you would put the oil in the pan, and then maybe some onion, right? If you have it, and then some flour, and you like kind of you're gonna make a gravy, but I would put in the tomato sauce. So what I had to do was I actually had to stretch the tomato sauce to make more tomato sauce. It was tomato flavored roux, tomato flavored gravy, and then I would add a ton of cooked noodles to that, and then I would get that all nice and tomatoey sauced, and then I would top it with a ton of cheese. Why cheese? Because at that point in time, this is the 80s, we were falling on hard times, and they were giving away free cheese. And so I remember having cheese in our freezer, cheese in our refrigerator. It was kind of like that Napoleon Dynamite era where, you know what I mean? It's funny when you watch that movie, you see them having a lot of cheese. That was because that was the era of free cheese, and there were a lot of cheese giveaways. And so that's why Napoleon Dynamite's grandma had a lot of cheese in her refrigerator as well. And so you see Kip, one of the characters in there, making these huge nachos with this huge pile of cheese. It was during that era. So I would make my own form of goulash, and that was mine then. So now I think, oh, it's saying there's a food burn. How nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to open it up and stir it. Apparently the sauce got a little too thick. But anyway, okay, so let me take care of that. You guys, look what happened here. Oh my goodness. All right, let me take care of this. The bag broke and it ended up all over the place. And now look, I do not cook like this. Oh, what on earth is going on? All right, I have some noodles that are still boiling. I cleaned up most of the mess. Dog's bone. And this was, I guess it's got some sticking down at the bottom. That's what it was trying to tell me. So maybe I should have just kept it on the stovetop and kept stirring it constantly. So this is this. I'm wondering if I should just leave it at this. If I add the yogurt, I feel like that's just going to put the clincher on a disastrous night of cooking. What is going on tonight? It must be a full moon. In any case, this smells good so far, but I need to get it out of this pan because I don't want that burning smell perforating throughout. All right, so I put some in a little bowl, and I added some of the Fage non-fat Greek yogurt. And as long as I stirred it really quick, look, I got no curdling. It looks really smooth and really nice, and I think that I can do this. So I'm going to add 1 cup to this pan, and I'm going to stir it really good. Let me lower it, and hopefully I'll end up with something creamy like this, and Honey will not know the difference. By him not knowing the difference, I mean not until he watches this. All right, it looks good. This is actually very good. It tastes good. Everybody's gonna wonder why I only have so many noodles though. Well, thanks for tuning in to my own little sweet version of Hell's Kitchen for tonight. I have no idea what was happening, but I want to thank you for the chat, and I will see you guys next time.